Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is enjoying their day. Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. Has GH Drew Kane sunk too far to be redeemed? Only this plot twist can save him. General Hospital, GH. Spoilers revealed that just when fans think that Drew Kane, Cameron Matheson, can't sink any lower, he does something new to surprise everyone. Such was the case on Monday, June 9, when he went out of his way to ensure sweet little Wiley Corinthos, Viron Weaver, heard that Michael Corinthos, Rory Gibson, didn't want him or an Amelia Corinthos, Sequoia, and Serenity Mork-Mako anymore, now that Daisy Corinthos, Levi Clark Coughlin, was in the picture. This was an outright lie that broke the child's heart. So, is Drew unredeemable at this point? What happened to Drew Kane? Drew used to be a hero in Port Charles, but now he's the top villain within the little town. Even Jen Sidwell, Carla Rhoda, has a moral compass enough to leave kids out of his illegal activities. Heck, even Rick Lansing, Rick Hurst, called Drew out on what he said in front of Wiley, and we all know how low Rick has stooped in the past. How does one man go from taking leaps and bounds to save anyone and everyone in Port Charles to manipulating a kid into thinking his father doesn't want him anymore, now that a new baby is around? Is Drew really Drew? Drew's change began after he was released from prison in early 2024. A switch almost flipped from the moment he entered the real world again. Could Drew have been somehow switched? Is the real Drew being held captive somewhere? Is this Drew an impersonator? As the Dawn of Day cult leader Shiloh Archer, Kobe Ryan McLaughlin, has been mentioned more and more in storylines, is the ABC foreshadowing this? Could Drew really be Shiloh? It was suggested recently that much like Shiloh, Drew's been manipulating Willow Tate Corinthos, Catelyn McMullen, which seemed like a hint as to where this arc could be heading. Drew being switched seems like the only possibility that could save this once heroic character. Is Drew really Drew? Join the conversation below. Watch your favorite soap on ABC Daily and check out this site regularly for the hottest General Hospital news and spoilers. Has GH Drew Kane sunk too far to be redeemed? Only this plot twist can save him. From Navy SEAL to Port Charles pariah, has Drew Kane crossed the point of no return? Drew Kane once stood tall as the noble twin, a man who wore honor like a badge and bore the burden of memories not entirely his own. But today's Drew is barely recognizable. Caught in the crossfire of dirty deals, fractured friendships, and questionable morals, the man who was once a symbol of integrity now teeters on the edge of ruin. Has Drew fallen too far to be redeemed? Or is there one last shocking twist that could restore the hero within? Let's dive into the tangled web of betrayal, ambition, and buried secrets, and explore the one storyline that could rescue Drew Kane from becoming Port Charles' most tragic lost cause. The fall of Drew Kane, where it all went wrong. Let's rewind. When Drew Kane first came to Port Charles, he was mistaken for Jason Morgan. Once the truth came out, Drew carved out his own path, a corporate leader, a father figure, and a man trying to build a life on a foundation of stolen memories. But in recent months, Drew's choices have grown darker. After his release from Pentonville, he returned a changed man, hardened, impatient, and hungry for power. His attempt to relaunch Aurora Media seemed noble on the surface, but his business tactics became cutthroat, even manipulative. His relationship with Carly spiraled. His friendship with Curtis cooled. And his alignment with the Quartermain family has become increasingly transactional. He's wielding the family name like a weapon, not a bond. Even his parenting has raised eyebrows. Despite his deep love for Scout, fans are beginning to wonder, is Drew more invested in his own image than in being a father? The Nina Reeves debacle. The final straw for many viewers came when Drew colluded with Nina Reeves, of all people, in a business move that blindsided Carly and plunged Crimson into turmoil. Teaming up with the woman who tormented Carly. That was a slap in the face no one expected from Mr. Morality. Not only did Drew turn a blind eye to Nina's past manipulations, he used the situation to his advantage, swooping in like a corporate shark while claiming it was just business. But this wasn't Wall Street. This was personal. And for many in Port Charles, it was unforgivable. Drew the hypocrite. Port Charles has opinions. Let's talk optics. This is the man who vilified Sonny Corinthos for years, claiming Sonny's methods were corrupt and his empire unethical. And yet now, Drew's become a kingpin of boardroom betrayal, manipulating people like chess pieces on his own corporate battlefield. Even Sam McCall, who once shared a daughter and a deep emotional bond with Drew, has voiced concern over his moral compass. She's been cautious, concerned about Scout being caught in the crossfire of her father's increasingly erratic behavior. Brooklyn, Tracy, and even Ned have all watched Drew's ambition slowly morph into obsession. Is it redemption he's chasing, or revenge? The one plot twist that could save Drew. Drew's path may be dark, but it's not unsalvageable. There's one twist, just one, that could pivot Drew back toward redemption. A secret mission for the WSB that forced him to destroy his personal relationships and embrace villainy, all as part of a covert operation. Yes, you read that right. What if everything we've seen, his corporate aggression, his distance from Scout, his alliance with Nina, was all a cover? Let's build the case. The WSB theory. Undercover and under duress. Remember, Drew was a Navy SEAL with deep ties to intelligence work. His combat skills, his ability to resist brainwashing, and his time in captivity made him a valuable asset to the government. After his prison stint in Pentonville, it's entirely plausible that the WSB approached Drew with a mission, one that required him to pose as a ruthless, morally bankrupt businessman to infiltrate a dangerous syndicate laundering money through Port Charles enterprises. Think about it. Why else would Drew suddenly act so out of character? Why target Crimson, a media outlet vulnerable to manipulation and propaganda? Why turn on Carly, the one person who stood by him through everything? Because Drew is pretending. Because the real enemy is hiding behind corporate masks and family crests, and Drew needs to play the villain to lure them out. This twist would explain everything. And more importantly, it would offer Drew a path back to the light. Port Charles reacts. If the truth comes out, imagine the fallout if this theory proves true. Carly would be devastated, but also relieved. The man she loved didn't betray her after all. His cold-hearted business moves were part of a greater sacrifice. Nina would be exposed. If Drew is playing her, she may be unknowingly aiding a takedown of corruption, adding insult to injury after losing Sonny and her daughter's trust. Scout would finally get her father back. A hero, not a manipulator. A man who gave up everything to keep her, and Port Charles, safe. And Jason Morgan, he'd see his brother in a new light. Their rivalry over past identities and shared memories would pale in comparison to the selfless danger Drew embraced. Seeds already planted. GH writers are masters of planting clues months in advance, and some sharp-eyed fans think the groundwork has already been laid. Drew's sudden paranoia. He's been glancing over his shoulder, cautious in public places, whispering phone calls. Cryptic comments to Laura and Anna. He mentioned knowing more than he can say about Valentin's shady dealings. Unexplained absences. Where was Drew during the week Nina lost access to Crimson? He claimed business meetings, but no one can confirm the location. If these clues are more than red herrings, we're looking at the slow burn of the spy thriller twist that's about to erupt. The redemption arc, what it would look like. So, how does GH sell this plot twist and steer Drew back into fans' good graces? 1. The confession. In a high-stakes episode, Drew is cornered, either by Jason, Carly, or Sonny, and forced to reveal the truth. Maybe someone catches him speaking to a WSB contact. Maybe he saves someone in a way that blows his cover. Either way, the mask drops. I never stopped protecting this city. I just had to protect it from the inside. Boom. Redemption begins. 2. The rescue mission. To prove he's still the man they remember, Drew leads a dangerous rescue op. Maybe saving Scout from a kidnapping tied to the syndicate, or exposing corruption in the Quartermain ranks. His sacrifice would speak louder than words. 3. Rebuilding bridges. Once the dust settles, Drew begins to mend what he broke. He sits down with Carly, not as a lover, but as a friend who needs forgiveness. He earns Sam's trust again by showing up consistently for Scout. He partners with Jason, forming a truce built on mutual respect and shared purpose. 4. A new beginning. Finally, Drew walks away from the corporate world and starts over. Maybe mentoring troubled youth, joining Curtis in rebuilding the Savoy's community programs, or even working with the WSB openly. Too late, or just in time? Of course, this all hinges on whether GH is willing to flip the script. If they don't, and if Drew's dark spiral continues, then his arc may become a cautionary tale instead of a comeback story. A good man undone by pride. A hero who let trauma and ambition cloud his purpose. But fans don't want to see Drew crash and burn. They want redemption. They want answers. And above all, they want a story worthy of the man who once walked through Port Charles with honor. Final thought. Don't count Drew out yet. GH has a long history of restoring fallen heroes. Look at Sonny. Look at Alexis. Even Valentin. Redemption arcs are the heartbeat of this show. And if anyone deserves one, it's Drew Cain. Whether he's been secretly working for the WSB or just lost in the fog of his own trauma, there's still a path home. All it takes is one reveal, one twist, one moment. And just like that, Drew Cain could go from zero to hero again.